Welcome back to the Rabbit's Chair. Last week we had a look at some drawings and started to prepare things around here for the bigger jobs that we've got coming up. This week it's the start of the bigger jobs. So we're going to be moving some things around the carousel. I'm going to see how far we get and just sort of play it by ear to how much we get moved this weekend and this week and then over the next few weeks. While we're doing that, we'll also look at some of the performances that have happened on the stage, and one in particular that worked between the stage and the garden, and that's quite an interesting one. So we'll talk about that later on. So let's go. Let's see what we can get done. So the first job we've got to do is clear all this stuff behind the stage. So this is the back of the stage. So we've got all this stuff behind the stage. It just needs moving out of the way for us to be able to pull it towards the fencing. So yeah, let's get on with that. So that's the beginning of the clearing started. Let's kind of have a look at the field with Sally and see whether it's ready for the animals to go out.
So this is the entrance to the field that we checked the other week, and the ground is really hard, completely dry. Looks like some of these animals can be coming out soon. I've been and put some fencing up. It's just a matter of when we get them turned out then.
So this week Sally and Ed have spent a lot of time in the garden sorting things out. And as we're moving the stage, we thought we'd have a look at a piece of artwork that linked the stage and the garden. So what's coming up is a series of written pieces that responded to things that were growing in the garden. They were then passed on to Dale and Laura as yeasts to respond to while they were playing. So it's quite an interesting piece. So let's have a look.
He screams in agony. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the time. Then.
Just
Then in collective movement, we shove our arms up his nose.
Is it okay?
And grab a hold of the hair inside.
Wait, collective?
In collective movement.
As we're clearing up, we find that we have things like this lying around, which is an old mouldy haylage bale, which we can't feed to the horses. So we use it as compost in the garden, and that's what this bed's mainly for. So we drop it in here and then move it into other beds around the garden, so the garden's nice and fertilised. So here's this one, and I think my dad's just bringing another one over. So I'm going to get this plastic out of the way and we'll see you there. So there's the second haylage bale ready to be spread around the garden. This one's cut up now and ready to be moved around in slices, which is quite nice and easy to do. Looking like the plants are needing a little bit of water, but they're quite healthy at the moment. So yeah, that's that.
These are the old sprouts that we've left, so they can actually seed themselves, and we still can eat some of the leaves. This wool here is some old wool from one of the sheep, and it's really good for covering seedlings and stopping frost getting to plants. But Gellet the dog seems to like this. It's kind of a cosy little bed in the day. The fruit trees are looking good, all sprouting nicely after their trim. Overall, it's kind of gradually happening. We can't do a great deal yet because there's still a lot of frost over the night. So I've been using this wool at night and taking it off in the day. So we're aiming for a little bit more of a wild garden and letting things happen a little more. It shouldn't be too long till things will start happening here.
Quite often while we're working, something happens and we have to go and sort it out. This time, at least we found out where the sheep were getting out.
In you go. Come on, in you go. In you go. Come on. In you go. Go on. Go on in. Good little Shetland sheep. Like bouncy little potatoes. Go on in then. Go on, girls. Well, there goes all that work.
Okay, time to get back to clearing up. It's time to move the Frank Caravan back towards the fence. Before we do, under all these nettles here is a little rose bush that Ed planted when he buried a dove that he'd tamed years ago. So we've got to be very careful with this because it's kind of growing quite nicely, and it marks the spot where his sort of first tamed dove went. So yeah, we'll see what we do. You just got to drag it back with the tractor, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Just braving the nettles to move Frank's caravan back a little bit. Hopefully we don't rip the bottom off whilst we move it backwards.
Well, that was a really busy day moving Frank's caravan, saving Ed's rows that he'd set, so that's now in front, and there's this trolley to put it there. Trolley's there to stop the sheep from eating it and to allow it to grow up it. We also moved the stage, and we need to move that again a little bit, just pull it this way because we're not quite happy with where it is. So for now we'll have a look at Frank and his painting performance on the stage a while ago. So that was quite nice to look back at. Let's go check out how Ed's doing with his piece of artwork. I'm guessing he's not got it running yet. So this week has been really busy in the rabbit's chair. We've managed to move the stage and we've managed to move Frank's caravan. There's lots of other little jobs that you'll see over the next few weeks. So join us next week on the rabbit's chair to see some more.